Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timik Hemza James. For our new and old subscribers, you're all welcome to today's tutorial where I'm going to be showing you how to draft and not really draft, how to cut and sew this kimono dress, right? So it's going to be a shift dress, right? So I've gone ahead to fold my dress, my fabric into four. You can see one, two, and this one is on fold. I folded it into four. This side of it is on fold actually, right? So I have this scrap fabric from a previous video and I thought it was a good match, guys. So what I want to do is to use this fabric to design the neck and possibly the sleeve, and maybe not, I might fix a pocket. So before you continue watching this video, if you want me to fix a pocket on this, comment below. If you don't want me to fix a pocket, also comment below, right? So that by the end of the video, I mean, those if I eventually fix pockets, those who suggest pockets will win, and those, if I do not eventually fix a pocket, those who suggested not to fix a pocket will win, guys. So let's get into drafting, right? So I've gone ahead to make my starting point line here, right? And then I've also determined my length. The length of the dress that I want is 42, but in general, this dress, starting from here, I have 44.5 inches. So I'm going to be using that 2.5 inches to hem the dress, right? So you determine your hem like that. Now for you to know how much fabric you're going to be needing, here I have 3 yards of fabric, right? It's not up to 3, maybe 2.5, or a little bit more than 2.5, thereabout. So, or 2 3/4, right? So what I did here is to I folded this fabric. Now y'all know I'm a plus size, right? So I made it 19 inches. That's from the beginning here to this point is 19 inches after I have folded, right? So now guys, my shoulder is 18 inch. My shoulder is actually 17 inches, right? But I'm going to be making it 18 inches on this dress because it's not going to be having a separate shoulder. So I'm just going to extend the sleeve from the shoulder. I hope you understand what I'm saying though. But why I'm doing it 19 inches is because I don't want a situation where the sleeve is hanging. So you should do like an inch or an inch plus 5, 1 or an inch and a half wider than your regular shoulder, right? Then your sleeve length, the length of the sleeve is another thing that would determine how much. So it's going to be half of your shoulder plus your sleeve length that you want on this dress plus 1 inch is what you're going to be folding into 4 like this. I hope it was comprehensive enough, right? So on this point, I'm going to, you remember I said I want 19 inches for my shoulder, so I'm going to do 9.5 on this side. I'm marking 9.5 here. Then I'm coming here to mark 3 inches for my regular neckline, right? So on this 9.5 inch, I'm coming down by 1.25, right? So that's 1/4. Then I'm going to be connecting that point like so to my neckline, right? So now by the time I do that, now I'm going to come to the hem here, and then I'm going down by, I've already come down here by 1/4, right? So on this side I'm going to come down by, let's say, 3.5 inches. So I'm going to be connecting this side to here. You don't even, guys, most times people cut these things, they don't even slant anything like this. They just go ahead and, you know, just leave here straight. But I don't like it. Usually give me that box kind of feel that I really don't like. That's why I'm coming down on this one, right? So I'm also trying this coming down method for the first time. So we are going to be doing this together, guys. So on the armhole, on the shoulder, sorry, I'm going to subtly use a curve on that side because I just discovered that our shoulder is not necessarily straight. So guys, we learn every day. I just discovered our shoulder is not necessarily straight, so there's no need to make a straight line. The straight line works fine as well, guys. This is just me trying out things, right? So the next thing we are going to be marking, the next line is going to be from our shoulder. Now you're not going to start from the slant. This starting point is where we are going to be starting our measurements, right? You're going to measure to your bust point, right? So I'm marking my bust point, then I'm measuring to my affluence point, right? And then I'm going to measure to my hip point on a regular where your hip will be, right? So I'm going to measure that as well. Yours is totally going to be different. So I'm going to measure the same thing here, then my affluence point, right? Then my hip point, right? So I'm going to be connecting those lines like that. So I'm just going ahead to connect that point. So by the time I'm done connecting, I'm going to, you measure your biceps measurement or where you want your sleeve to end, right? Wherever you want your sleeve. So let's assume my sleeve is ending around here. So I'll measure and how loose I want that point to be. So I'll just go ahead and measure that point, right? So let's assume it's here. Then I'm going to add the ease allowance that I want on the sleeve. You can see I measured it really loose. So it's giving me 18 inches. So I'm going to divide that 18 by 2, right? So it's going to give me 9 inches. So from here I'm going to mark 9 inches from here to here. I'm going to mark 9.5. Now it's eventually going to fall on my bust point line and I'm going to leave it there. Reason is because I'm going to use at least 1/4 inch to join this shoulder around here, and then I'm using another 1/4 inch to close the seam around here, right? So I'm just going to leave it on 9.5, which is also my bust point line. Yours might not be your bust point line, which is totally fine, right? So now on that bust point line, I'm not going to use that point anyway, but I'll mark my bust measurement, divide by 4, right? Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch of ease, right? Or as much ease as you want, right? Then on the waist line, I'm going to as well mark my affluence measurement plus maybe 1 inch of ease, or let me just do 2 inches of ease, guys. So I'll mark it there because I want the dress really loose, guys. So on the hip point, I'm going to mark my hip measurement as well, then 2 inches of ease, right? So now you determine if you want the dress to go straight or you want it to curve towards the hem a little bit, which I think I want it to curve on the hem line a little bit, like let it curve from here. Instead of going down straight, I want a little bit of curve to sort of look like a pencil. It's not going to pencil out, but just that effect. So on this side, I'll measure what I have here, then I'll take 2 inches off of it on this side, right? On the hem side. So that will help it to pencil out. Not necessarily pencil out like pencil, but you know what I mean, guys. So I'll just mark 2 inches straight first. That 2.5 inch I'm going to use for hemming. I'll mark it straight before I connect here in a straight line. Then I'm going to use my hip curve to connect this side like so. Then from here I'm going to gently connect it in a curve to come to this side, right? So I'm going to do that by hand. So I'm just going to gently go in like so. So I just went ahead and did that by hand, right? So we're almost done, guys. So I'll come over to my neckline. So on the back side, I want my neckline to be high. So I'm just going to mark 1.5 inch on the neckline, right? Then the width of the neck, I don't necessarily want 3 inches. I'm going to make it 4 inches. So I'm going to continue on the shoulder slant, right? So I'm going to mark 4 inches. Then I'll connect nicely to this point, and then I'm going to cut the dress out. So guys, at this point I'm going to pull out one of, it's 2 panels now, right? So we have the front and the back panel together. So I'm going to take out 1 panel, which will be for the back panel, right? So I'm going to use this one that I've already opened, or let me just use this one for the front panel. That's the one that has the chalk lines on it, so that it will help me to have sort of like a guideline of the stuff that I want to do. So I'm taking this out as my back panel, right? So I'm just going to fold it and keep aside. So for this one that I have here, I'm going to go ahead and make the neckline deeper, right? So for the neckline, I already have 1.5 here, right? So I'm going to just I'm just looking for what to do with this neckline, guys. What if I make sort of like okay, let me make like a collar neck, right? So I have 1.5 cut out already, so I'm going to measure from that 1.5 so that it will give me, let's say, 7 inches, right? So on 7 inch, now note how I'm keeping my tape, right? So my 1.5 inches is on the cut out point of the neckline, then my 7 inches is here, right? So I'm going to slit the neckline like this up to that 7-inch point. So what I'm going to do, I'm sort of going to make I think they call it a rolled collar or so. So I'm going to go ahead and curve this side like so, and then possibly I'll decide to add maybe a collared neck to it, right? So I'm going to trace off this neckline and cut out a facing using this fabric, right? So I'm going to be cutting out my facing. So guys, I've gone ahead to iron this like folded in half like so, right? So you determine how you want your design to be, right? So for my own case, I want my design, this fish like design, to be facing heads down. So I'm just going to lie it like so. Make sure that you arrange this properly. So by the time I lie it like so, I'm going to cut up to where I want my design to fall, right? So I'll cut to this point. Then I think from here should be fine, right? So I'll just leave this side as a notch. Then I'll raise my design and sort of cut up to this point. Then I'm going to be opening this side as well, but I'm going to be gluing interfacing on this one. So until I do that, I will not cut here open. So this is the front side. Now for the pocket, I'm going to try to add a pocket. Now what I want to achieve is this side, the design is facing downwards. The pocket side, the design will be facing upwards, so that they sort of look like they are facing each other. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to place my fabric nicely like so, and take out any shape of pockets that I want. Maybe I should do a love like pocket, guys. So I'm just going to cut out piece of fabric, right? So for now, it's just a square shape. So I'm going to, maybe let me do like a heart design. So you can just go ahead and design it anyhow you like. So I'm just going to cut out my heart. Not my heart like my literal heart, guys. I mean the heart on my pocket, on my fabric. So I have the heart cut out, you can see. So it's going to be on one side as a pocket. I feel like it's wide, so I might reduce it, I don't know, but let me leave it like this first. So I'll keep this aside. Then you remember I said I was going to do the sleeve as well, right? So I'm going to cut a facing on the sleeve, guys. So just so we don't make this video too long, I'll do that off camera. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut all my panels and interface what I need to interface. So this is the facing for the front neckline, you can see, right? So I've gone ahead to interface, and after interfacing it, I ironed one side. I ironed just a little bit to cover this side, but I'm going to be top stitching round, right? So I just make nice tiny slits. I don't know if you can see that. I just cut those tiny pieces so that the curved design can come out in sort of a curved shape here. Then I bend it over and ironed it nicely, because um I'm going to be sewing these on the right side of the fabric, right? So this is the front facing, this is our pocket. For our pocket, I've as well gone ahead to interface, right? Then I cut this one. Now the interfacing on the pocket is just to give it structure. Basically all the interfacings are to give that side of the dress structure. So I cut out a lining piece using this part of fabric for the pocket side, right? Then I cut out this long strip that I interfaced as well, and I folded in half. I'm going to use it to turn over the sleeve. Now the length of this is going to be determined by the sleeve, right? How wide your sleeve is, and then the width is totally up to you. You can do anything from 1.5 inch, you can do that, right? So I have the back interfacing, and this is it, guys. So let's head over to the sewing machine to go and sew. Guys, I have my front panel here and I have my facing panel. Now this is the wrong side of my fabric, right? So I'm going to match. The right side of my fabric is going to be on the wrong side, because I want the facing, by the time I turn it, I want this right side to be on the right side. So that's why the right side of the facing is lying on the wrong side of the fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew, starting from here. So I'm using 1/4 of an inch sewing allowance. So your sewing allowance is totally up to you, guys. So this is the front side. You can see that opening that I slit open. Now I'm turning it back to the right side so that I can see where I made that slit, so that I will sew very close to the slit side, right? So you arrange this properly so that you're sure that everything is seated where it's supposed to sit. Then I'm going to sew. Now this time around I'm sewing on the right side, and but I've not turned anything. So I'm going to slit. You remember I've not slit the facing side now, but so I'm going ahead to slit the facing side. So you have to be careful doing that. Then I'm reducing the excess sewing allowance around this side, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just make notches. Now I'm going to turn it to the right side of my fabric. So I'm bringing my facing now back to the right side of my fabric. Now my finger will go in so that this corner can come out properly. So I'll just tuck my finger and bring out this corner properly, right? So you can see. So guys, I've gone ahead to turn it over and giving it a nice press, right? So if you cannot control your fabric when sewing here, go ahead and use a hemming gum to hold it down before you sew. But I definitely can control my own. So you're going to be sewing at the edge of this now at this point, because this seam is going to be revealed on your dress, right? You do not want your thread cutting on you on this side or having any error. So you want it as neat as possible, and you really don't have to do it fast. So guys, this is our pocket, right? I've turned it over. You can see that opening that I used to turn it over. So, and I've ironed it nicely. So ordinarily it would have been more convenient for me to sew it on the left side, which is this side. Now as I'm seated now is my right side. But by the time I have this dress on, this is going to be my right side. So I want the pocket on the right side of my dress, right? So I'm just going to find, now I want it from the midpoint of my dress heading outwards, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and find a position that is best suited for me, right? So somewhere here is totally fine. So you can go ahead and pin it down, or you go ahead and use your hemming gum to hem it and keep it in place. If you're a beginner, guys, always use your hemming gum to keep things in place where you should, or you use your pin to pin it down, or you sew it by hand first before you go over with your machine, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and start stitching. Now this is going to be the opening of my phone. That's from this the sorry, I said the opening of my phone, the opening of my pocket from here to here. So this heart shaped side is going to be the opening. So I'm not going to sew that side close, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do like this up to this side, right? So when you get to where you're ending it, you're going to back stitch properly. So what I usually do is to sort of sew like an angle there to also secure that side, right? So I'm going to sew a little bit of a triangle there. You can do any shape. It's not something big that would take away the pocket, but just a little triangle there, right? So it will help you secure that side properly. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side as well. So here we go, right? So I don't know if you can see the triangle that I'm talking about, but then, so here we go. Our pocket is fixed. You can see you can fit your phone, your money, and anything you have there. So this will be it about our front panel for now. So I'm going to work on the back panel now. Is to fix my my facing, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and sew that using 1/4 inch sewing allowance. So by the time I'm done, you can go ahead and open press at this point, but I want to join the front and the back before I go ahead to press. Now you can see I'm not stop stitching the back. So this is the right side of the back, right? So by the time I press, it's going to lie like this. So I'm not going to press yet until I join the armhole, but you can go ahead and press yours before you join your shoulder, sorry. So I'm just going to match. Now the reason why I'm not top stitching before I join my shoulder is because I want to be able to sandwich part of it, at least where I have my back, where I have my facing to be sandwiched. So I'm just going to sew like this, turning my shoulder the way you would normally sew your shoulder when you want the seams to be sandwiched. So I'm going to just go ahead and join it. Now I'm using 1/4 inch sewing allowance on that point. I'm going to sew it up until the sleeve side. So guys, at this point I'm almost done. So what I'm going to do now is to open my sleeve side, right? This is what we have, guys, by the way. You can see. I hope you're seeing it in full. So this is what we have, right? So I'm going to go ahead and sew the facing for. Now I'm turning the sleeve to the wrong side. This is the wrong side of my sleeve, right? So this facing that I have here, I'm going to go ahead and stitch it across the sleeve. Then I'll do the two, both of them. So at this point, guys, if you have an overlocker, right, go ahead and overlock before you continue. So guys, you can see this is the right side of the fabric, right? So you remember we sewed our facing, the sleeve facing, on the right, from the wrong side to the right side. So this is the right side. I've gone ahead to overlock, and I used the opportunity to overlock all over my fabric, right? So I'm going to turn it. This is how it's supposed to be. Now you can make yours this way, right? But this is kind of giving me a vibe of another design, right? So if I find this more beautiful, I might end up leaving it like this. But what I'm going to do now is to flip it over. If you want to do it like this, I think I should just leave it like this, right? So you're going to, from here, then you cross to this side, and then this is back to the wrong side of the fabric. So I'm going to sew from the sleeve down to the hem, right? So you can see from this sleeve I'm going to sew down to the hem. Likewise the other side. Then I'll hem my dress, and that will be it about the dress. So let's go ahead and sew. So guys, this is the finished look of the dress. It's so beautiful, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Guys, please subscribe to my channel. Oh, support your sister. See you in my next video, guys. Bye.